Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spiritual Growth Journeys. I haven't done a show for a while because my computer broke. So I'm actually borrowing a computer here. So the video may or may not be the same as what you're used to because I'm using a borrowed computer, but it's better than nothing. So welcome back. I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you're at. I have a really amazing guest for you all today who I've known and loved for a really long time. And we've been friends for a while now on social media, quite a while. Maybe Salini can remember how many years it's been, but it's been at least 2 or 3, at least maybe even longer than that, because I've been on this Facebook page since 2010 or something. And I'm not sure when I met Seleni, but some point in there, I met Seleni, known her a while. So I've been trying to get Seleni on the show now. I want you all to know for probably the last several months, but weird, creepy stuff keeps happening to her and happening to me to get us to where we haven't been able to do this. And so now the powers that be have made it so we're together finally, because everything keeps coming up to sidetrack her and sidetrack me. And we've had to cancel our interviews. Like, I don't know how many times over this has happened. So I am just so grateful that the stars are lining up for us and we're actually together now doing this, which is amazing. So let me tell you about Salini. Salini Teri Apodaca is a sacred alchemist, divine healer. She's an MK Ultra and sex slavery survivor. She's a huge follower of Mother Amma. She's, I think she even does astrology. She does all kinds of stuff. She's just an amazing healer, amazing, loving counselor. She does spiritual counseling and work kind of similar to me, but different. We do different things, but very complementary to each other. And she just has an amazing story. She's what I call the full embodiment of divine, feminine, unconditional love, which is what we're going to be talking about today on the show. We're going to be talking about the divine feminine. So she's like literally my most perfect guest for talking about this because she knows all about it and she embodies it. And so welcome to my channel, Seleni. I am beyond happy that we finally got to do this.
Namaste and to everyone here, followers of my friend Kimberly. Happy to be here. Yes, we finally did it, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know how many times you messaged me and said, I can't do it this week. This happened. I can't do it that. I mean, because you were moving, you've been through Seleni, you guys, Seleni has been through so much because she has we're going to call them the baddies, the bad guys are just constantly trying to take out her social media. They're constantly trying to stop her on social media. They've taken down her Facebook page over and over and over again and put her in Facebook jail. She's hardly been able to be on there this year. They've gone out of their way to make her life miserable. She has a whole bunch of other nasty, evil, rotten people in her life that have been just trying to block her and block her and block her like crazy for the last year. She is basically kind of been to hell and back. She is like one badass warrior angel. That's all I have to say. And she is an angel. And she's a badass warrior angel, and which is why she's here today, still alive, because these suckers have tried to take her out a gazillion times over, and they will continue to epically fail. In fact, anybody who comes against her, they are going to get such a spiritual whoop ass. I don't even want to be them. I don't even want to know, because it's the spiritual whoop ass that's coming for all these people who have been harassing my sister Salini here. Or they're really in a lot of trouble. Let's just put it that way. You don't even want to be them. You don't want to be them. So Salini, can you please share with everybody just kind of like who you are, what you do, just a little short story, because I know your story is a really long one, but if you can kind of give everybody like an abbreviated version, because you've been through so many. Oh my God. I mean, your life is like literally like a motion picture. It's like an adventure, like an action thriller. It's like a thriller, adventure, spiritual, I don't know what, all combined into one movie. It's just.
Well, it's funny that you say that because, well, I am a screenwriter as well. I mean, I wanted to be a movie star and a screenwriter, but universe was like, click, and we're going to get you over here to be the healer that you really are. And I am at some point going to write a screenplay about my life, which is like it's like more exciting than Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It really is. I mean, you think that things that he went through, I went through all that stuff and more. Yeah, so just real briefly, I can say to people that I'm transformed from what I went through into a divine mother and a healer who is bringing gifts to all of you to transform and heal your lives. And for me, it started as being born into a Masonic family, my father being a Mason and his father and grandfather. And these people were committed to very dastardly evil acts. And they were involved in sex trafficking and starting the Ku Klux Klan and all that kind of stuff. And so my father, being a military officer and a Mason and an architect, he took my siblings and I into the MK Ultra trauma-based mind control program as children, and it starts the day you're born. So I went through 18 years of child abuse and trauma mind control training, which I, you know, and there are some things about it that actually improve you, but certainly not the trauma part. But as part of my training, I was, they hyper train your mind to be really, really powerful. And I noticed that I can absorb things really quickly, learn things very quickly, and do things that some people can't do. But, you know, the downside of it is there's all this trauma, you know, and sexual abuse and all of that to prepare you for whatever it is they choose you for. But on the good side, my mother was not a part of that. And she brought me into healing, Reiki. She was a Reiki master. She was very, very spiritual. She was a Zen Buddhist. She studied with Alan Watts and went to Zen sessions. And she was responsible. She was the person responsible for bringing the Grand Master of Reiki, Hawayo Takata, to the United States and launching her career here from our house, amazingly enough. So I had a dark and a light upbringing. My father on the Mason side, my mother on the goddess side. And, you know, my father was very supportive of that part. And this is where I see how the dark and the light can work together, because sometimes the dark is assigned the job of pushing people into their enlightenment. And I believe that, you know, was the gift that I got from my trauma, was that I left my body so many times that I got very comfortable being close to God, even as a child. And so we were encouraged even by my father to learn Reiki. And so I had 20 years of mentorship by Mrs. Takata, and then she asked me to take over for her as Grand Master of Reiki. And that was the beginning, you know. Then you go through life, you know. I got married, I went to college, did all that. And then, you know, you think you're going to have a normal life. You think you're going to just have a white picket fence, a couple kids, you know. And even that part of my life is exciting. And my husband was an abalone diver. We had 4 boats. We supported the family by diving for abalone. And a very organic life. I grew all our own food and everything. And when that ended, when I had my spiritual awakening, I moved into my healing career. And part of that was to go through a lot of initiations into both dark and light. So I've had the most, that's where all the crazy adventures started. In Mexico, Bali, Australia, Hawaii, you know, all these different locations that I went to. And every time I'd go through another initiation. But the upshot of it is that I have tools to deal with everything that's happening right now on planet Earth, which is people moving from 3D to 5D, people crashing and burning and waking up as new people freaking out and losing everything, but then starting over. Mm-hmm. Those are all the things that happen, aren't they, Kimberly, mm-hmm. when you wake up? And
yeah, been there, done that.
I'm calm now, you know. It's like when you're going through it, it's scary. And I got really sick and I had a bunch of near-death experiences. But at this point, I've integrated it. I'm calm, and I have a private practice on Salini.love on my website. I have a Divine Mother Ascension Mystery School. I have a book I wrote, Emerging from the Matrix, Healing Human Trauma, Ending Global Enslavement, which is the twin to Kimberly's book. I almost called my book Ascension 101. I'm seriously.
Did you really? Mine was actually supposed to be called Classroom Earth, Making the Grade, but Yeshua is the one who gave me the title for the book. He said,
I
no,
have
you're not going to call it that. You're
isn't
going to call it Ascension 101. I didn't come up with the name Ascension 101. That was his
that
idea.
interesting? Well, I
Yeah.
had three titles kept coming into my mind was Ascension 101, The Great Awakening. Oh, wait. Yeah, The Secret Holocaust. And then finally, I came up with Emerging from the Matrix because I thought that's what we're all going to do.
I really love that title, honestly, the best of all of them. I even like your title better than the Ascension 101 because a lot of people identify with the word matrix, like they identify
Mhm.
with what the matrix is, but but the same people who know what that word is will shake their head about, I don't know what ascension is, it's a weird word to them. So yeah.
Well, like your book, in my book, I have 22 steps in the back for helping people navigate their awakening. It starts out real scary for almost everybody, and then maybe you're going to get sick or you lose your job or something. But then you begin this journey, and the journey has many steps to it. And so I try to make that clear for people in the back of the book. The middle of the book has a lot of miracle stories. I've had so many miracles of people that I've healed, or it's God through me, but people that have come to me with cancer, even AIDS. And
Wow.
yeah, I've had success with people with AIDS. I have success with people with, the current CV thing.
Yeah.
And
This thing is supposedly going to cause a whole bunch of AIDS.
yes, it is. Come fall, you're going to see millions of people being diagnosed with that. So when that happens, there's another thing I should have brought it in here. I forgot, is that in the course of my work, the Holy Spirit, in fact, last year, because I got COVID, last year, the Holy Spirit downloaded to me a healing frequency for that. And I've been sending that for free out to the whole world. And a lot of people have told me that it's changed their life and even causing their family members to wake up. So now just recently, the Holy Spirit downloaded another one, which is, I can't say the word, damage repair for people who've already done it and they're down the road and they're getting sick. So we got 2 frequencies to help you with that. And then I have 20 more. I've got 7 on my new website for healing people. It'll be universal purification and things like that, because we're all going to go through a massive purification coming up here. What's already started, but it's going to kick into high gear in April, isn't it, Kimberly?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Salini and I both feel very strongly, and so do a lot of psychic people that I know, like friends of mine that are light workers, all feel strongly some major stuff's going down in April. My team refuses to tell me exactly what it is. And you know why, Seleni, I don't know if I told you this. They said to me that I have a big mouth and I go and tell everybody. They said, we won't tell you. And I'm like, why? Please tell me. And they're like, no, you have a big mouth. You tell everybody. We can't tell you. It's going to be a surprise. I'm like,
Well, I'll tell you. I can say, aren't they sweet? They don't want you to be upset. And sometimes I can get a little bit dark because I do know what's coming, and it's both, it's both beautiful and scary. Because the crash happens. As a matter of fact, it's going to be this coming week, financial crash. As of Friday, the US dollar is no longer accepted anywhere in the world. So it's really dead, and the ruble becomes the main unit of currency as of Friday. And so we're going to see a crash, but a blessing is coming after that, is that thanks to Mr. T, we have gold-backed currency is ready to go. And I've had confirmation at the top. I have insiders. I do have lots of intel. I have insiders that I work with, and they've let me know that all the gold has been rescued and is in a safe place. Yes, and that it's been taken out of the hands of the bad guys and is being stored in locations of safety that will be used to back all the currency in the world, of every nation in the world. So what's going to happen is the USA falls as the #1 super financial power, but the good news is that we all will be on an equal playing field in the future, and everybody's currency will be gold backed. And we don't have to have poverty-stricken people and rich people. And, you're going to start seeing third world countries be financially empowered. You're going to see technology from the angels, like my med bed. I have a pocket med bed that people can purchase from me. and many, many more things. My healing frequencies. I mean, I'm just like the tip of the iceberg of, but they've been dropping hints on me too. Like, you're going to be a healer, you're going to work on lots of people, you're going to have all this stuff. And it's like, okay, but they're also warning me that millions of people are going to be scared and sick and confused. So that's where you and I come in, Kimberly, and that's why we prepared. That's why we had a rough time, because it really is not going to bother us to listen to people who are upset, is it? I mean, we're so used to it.
It won't phase me. I'm used to being screamed at day after day for the last 3 years by family members, friends, you know, whatever. Oh, you're nuts. Oh, you're crazy. And you're crazy anti, you know, this, and you're part of a Mr. T cult and da da da. Yeah, I've been listening to all that for the last.
Well, they're going to be bowing down to you, scraping down to you pretty soon, and they're going to realize what a goddess you are and how amazing you are, that you were ahead of the curve.
That'd be
And
nice.
yeah, you will be, and people are going.
I just want an apology. I just like an apology, please. Just say I'm sorry. That's all I want. Just say I'm sorry, and I'll forgive them, and they can move on with their life.
A lot of people are going to be shocked, and they're going to really look to us for help, because they didn't get it in time. They just didn't wake up in time. And so all of a sudden we're going to be in a position that we're going to be able to assist people in a way that no regular doctor or counselor or lawyers, none of those people are going to be able to handle what's coming. The laws are going to change, the government's going to change, the financial system's going to change, the school system's going to change,
the history
is going to change. Counselors won't really be very needed anymore, because they don't understand fifth dimensional reality.
No, medical system's going bye-bye. The whole medical system's going to go bye-bye.
Yeah, they're going to be talking from the standpoint of old books and old 3D stuff, like the DSM-5, and here's the, you know, hysteria or this or that diagnosis. That stuff doesn't matter anymore, because everybody's going to wake up, and everybody's going to start waking up in different, you know, timelines, so that you're going to see some people freak out, and you're going to see some people be at the end, and they're going to help the ones that are just starting. And it's going to be like boom, 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 boom. It's going to be a wave, a beautiful wave of light. And the old system people won't be able to handle it. It's just the way it's going to go down different.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. And I actually had because I have prophetic dreams all the time, but sometimes I don't know if they're literal or they're an allegory of what's going to happen. So I had a dream, I don't know how many, a month or two ago, that a volcano erupted in a very heavily populated area. And there was big chunks of rock spewing on people's houses and blowing them up and catching them on fire and on landing on people's cars and on people everywhere. And lava was flowing through the streets, and people were running amok and trying to run away. And I didn't know if that's actually going to happen, or if that was showing me that the volcano of all this information that's been hidden for the last who knows how long is all going to erupt. If that's what the volcano is, that all the truth is going to erupt.
Well, that seems like a metaphor to me.
Yeah.
You know, I can speak to that. Come this April 4th, which is next Monday, you are going to see Mars conjoin Saturn at 28 degrees. And this is an explosive alignment of epic proportions. There's no getting around it. Not only that, but it aligns with a very violent star in the universe, and the astrological sign of Aries, which is the god of war and anger. So you've got Mars, which is about anger and war.
I'm married to the god of war and anger. I'm married to him.
Okay. And then you've got Saturn, which is the harsh father. And they're both, you know, when they come together, it's like a, you know, heavyweight boxing match. And then comes Aries in there. And so what's going to happen when this alignment has happened in the past, I can tell you some of the dates. The day they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, this was same alignment. Another date, the day Hitler was elected in 1933. I'm not sure, but it might have been another date, was President Kennedy's death.
Yeah. Wasn't that April 15th? A whole bunch of these occurred on April 15th. And you know what cracks me up about all this is April 15th is the true birthday of Yeshua, because when I asked him when his birthday was in our calendar, not in his, because his calendar was the Hebrew calendar, which was totally different. But I said, in our calendar, what would your birthday be the equivalent of? He said it was April 15th. And I just had this big light bulb moment, because tax day and this and that, and so many the deep state has done so many horrific things on that date. And you know that those Masonic people know the true information. They know that that was his real birthday. They all know it. And that's why they use those dates to do their mischievous nastiness. They use money, or I mean, not money. They use money too, but they use numbers. They use gematria. They use numerology, they use astrology, they use all of the things that are tools that used to be positive tools. These were all things that used to be good, positive tools. They take it and invert the hell out of everything and make it evil and bad and perverted. That's their right. MO. It's their MO.
Well, I can say that the dates in April are very, very significant. I'm not specifically referring to gematria, although if we spent time on it, I'm sure we could break it down. But what I will say is that this Vedic dates that I'm referring to, so in the sidereal astrology, the Vedic dates, the first one is April 4th. Actually, tomorrow, March 30th, is another one. It's karmic relationships. So if you get in a fight tomorrow, that's why. And maybe something good will come out of it, but try not to get into a fight tomorrow, because it's kind of a rocky day for that. Then next Monday is the big one with the smash, and it's in the second house of finance, folks. So that's why, in my personal opinion, the first thing that's going to happen is a crash of the economy and the stock market.
Well, it's a long time
that's
coming.
Number one, because it's entering into the second house of finance. But I also believe, because this, strangely enough, aligns with Vladimir Putin's chart exactly. And when looking at Vladimir Putin's chart, he also has Mars and Saturn conjoining in the 28th degree in Aries right at the same time that this event's going to happen. So that tells me that Vladimir Putin is pivotal to whatever it is that's happening on Monday. Well, I don't know if it's the stock market, or if he's going to, there might be a war event, like an invasion of Europe, because Europe, I got to just say it like it is, it's NATO that is causing all the problem. And
they're bad.
Threatening to invade and threatening to release, illnesses in the world. And he had to do what he had to do. And people can, stay asleep, or they can face the truth that what he did is going to save the world. So whether or not he continues doing stuff, I don't know if he's going to do something that day. I also see danger for him on that day. And there's a lot of predictions about him not surviving this year. So I'm hoping that we can get through this crazy period. To have him suddenly be gone in the middle of all of this would not really be helpful. We need to finish this cycle of transformation. And then my feeling is then he leaves maybe later, and some younger people might come in and take over. I don't know. But whatever's going to happen is going to be pivotal. He's going to be pivotal in it. He's going to have say-so about it, and it's going to be connected to money. And it's also above him on that day is a yod. Now that's a Hebrew term in which and what is the translation of the word yod in Hebrew?
I don't remember, because my Hebrew is really bad. I haven't really worked on it for so many years. I mean, I can read and write in Hebrew, but I can't interpret it super well. So I don't remember. I remember very few words.
Yeah. Oh, I don't speak Hebrew, but I know what a yod means. And the yod in astrology, especially in Vedic astrology, is the finger of fate. It's divine destiny. And it means that when it appears in someone's chart or on a certain date, what it means is there's going to be a spiritual destiny occur at that moment in time on that date or that person's life. And it's always something that has to do with divine enhancement, spiritual enhancement. I kind of feel like what's going to happen is going to be positive, even though there might be destruction. I mean, it's not going to be like Hiroshima, I don't think. If something bad happens, it's going to be needed to happen, like maybe the fall of these bad people. The fact that there's a yod there gives me hope that this is going to be a very positive event, a turn of events. And then that begins the whole month, Kimberly, of there being one after another after another.
Yeah,
so then
that's what I feel like.
12th, April 12th, Jupiter goes conjoins Neptune in
It's a big deal.
Pisces.
It's a really big deal.
And that one, I believe, because Neptune is illusions, it's the media, and Pisces, and when that one together with Neptune is all about not the truth and craziness and all that kind of stuff. With Jupiter enhances it, I believe it has something to do with exposing the media. So that's going to happen on the 12th.
I've just been wanting to kick their
fantastic.
ass so bad. I want to kick their ass. I just can't take them anymore. It's like, I feel like if I could turn into Wonder Woman, I would go and take the lasso and I would lasso every damn reporter in the world and make them tell the freaking truth.
Well, they're in trouble.
So
Let me tell you.
So
they're in big trouble because, you know, they have gone on record verbally committing, which really amounts to treason. So because they've said things that weren't true, that caused changes in our voting system, that caused people to
about our bodies.
Yes, our bodies. And so they're culpable. And you know what they did after World War II when Hitler was arrested? I mean,
doctors and news people all got to be tribunaled.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, because I lived in Germany in high school as an exchange student, and I had to watch all the videos. They make you watch all the videos. And I saw they hung all the reporters, doctors, and nurses and media people right in the town squares of every city in Germany. So, I mean, there's all kinds of pictures of just people hanging. And a lot of these people were just reporters. And these reporters had lied and lied and lied, and they knew very well what was going on in the concentration camps. It's like Nuremberg too, you know, here we are. So, you know, there's going to be accountability. That's not all going to happen in April. It's going to take time. But I do think that the media is beginning to fall. And then there's more of that on the 13th. And then on the 17th, and I didn't bring my notes with me, but I think the 17th is another major event, which has to do with Saturn and Aquarius. Although I know that's what Saturn and Aquarius, it's Saturn and Capricorn, and then it goes back and forth. That's what it's been doing.
Sorry, I didn't have any sleep last night. I was awake with a lot of pain all night long. So.
Well, Saturn is the hard taskmaster, and it rules Aquarius, which is why we often have really hard lives, we Aquarians. And when it goes into Capricorn, it's debilitated. And so it's because Capricorn is the father, the stern father, and Saturn is the stern father. So when Saturn is in Capricorn, like it has been, that's when we get our butts kicked. And then moves into Aquarius, freedom. Saturn expands in Aquarius because it's exalted there. And so we're going to I have a feeling of freedom at the end of April. And people are going to start, we're going to have a really rough month. And then comes the expansion, Saturn into Aquarius. And then it's on the 28th and the 30th, expanded even more. And then as we go into May, people are going to be feeling free. And they're going to want to travel. We're going to have good
bring it.
Whatever it is that happens in April is going to make people feel like they want peace. Like they've had enough and they want peace. And that's when you're going to see people coming back together. And it could even be the exposure of the children. If that happens, people are going to be horrified, and they're going to want all this to end, and they're going to want to go forward in peace and to end all this ridiculous dark stuff that's been going on for so long.
Yeah, I think they need to tell the truth, though, first about what COVID really was and who planned it and why and what these things really are. And they need to put an end to that, because think of all the people who are going to bite it from that thing if they don't stop that. I mean, they got to stop it. You know?
Well, they're promoting the fourth, you know what?
Yeah, they're doing it here locally. They're already talking about it.
And they're planning passports and things like that. So I think that their plans are going to be foiled. I I think that they're on their last legs, and the last real tool they have is the media. If we can just knock the media down from their pedestal, things are going to move forward. And I really think that things are moving forward in the background. I don't think people realize what's going on in the background with Mr. T and Mr. P and the money and the global reset. All of you guys are going to have a big early Christmas present or a late Christmas present.
That'd be nice.
Where we're going to have a lot of financial stability coming our way. That's one of the events that's going to happen this year, is abundance and financial stability. We're going to have quantum healing technology coming this way. We're going to have new healing centers. The hospitals are going to fail and they'll be purified and transformed. And, the bad doctors that are like the German doctors from World War II will probably end up in prison, and you're going to see all the natural doctors stepping forward, healers like me. And we're going to set up beautiful healing centers where people will be able to come and get natural methods and restore our bodies. Yes, it's the beginning of the restoration of the human body, and especially the DNA. And I wanted to address that for a moment, Kimberly.
Go ahead. You're on a roll. I love all this.
DNA, that's what we divine mothers and goddesses have come to bring to earth. We came in as star seeds, and that's not to say that other people are less than. I'm not trying to make a caste system or anything, but some of us were specifically assigned the job of bringing in this very pure DNA and to replace the damage that's being done right now to our DNA, and to replace the alteration to our DNA that's occurred through many, many eons of aliens being here and altering, back when the Anunnaki altered our DNA. And some of us are very specifically assigned that job. I was born into the Roman bloodline, which is actually an Anunnaki bloodline. And being that my ancestors were one of the emperors of Rome, and my job was to drop in with this pure light and this pure DNA and just flood the what out of it. And these buggers, they don't know what to do with that energy now, because it's flooded their energy. So I ended it, and I can remember when I had a huge, like a breaking of the curse and a breaking of the DNA bloodline of these dark ones went through my body. And then I was contacted by angels who said, you just shifted the bloodline of the planet. So
wow.
I'm not trying to brag. Each of us has an assignment.
No, we all have work that we're doing. I'm doing some pretty hardcore stuff, shifting timelines and all kinds of wacky stuff. So yeah, I don't even talk about most of what I do on here because I'd get into trouble. So I don't even tell about it. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about the whole thing about Yeshua and everything. And so here's the deal. Let me just get you guys all excited, because I think this is so cool. So when the Council of Light got together, and they knew that they could not influence our decisions because this is a free will planet. So they don't have a right. The bad guys will do it, but they don't have a right as light beings to tell us what to do or make us do anything in particular, because they know that each person's evolution is a personal decision, and each soul's journey to ascension is individual and is done through free will. So they concocted one beautiful plan, which was to drop in star-seeded individuals who are already ascended and who had pure DNA into the human population and into the dark bloodlines and into the places where they would be the most helpful, and that they as humans would be able to make the changes that needed to be made, and that it wouldn't be something that was forced by any alien race, because the idea is that we need to reclaim our power and our sovereignty. We have to do that on our own as humans, not as under the direction of an alien race. And that's what we're breaking free from, is the alien races. So here comes the 144,000, being dropped in, probably 144,000 groups of people being dropped in, and flooding all the cultures and all the races and all the colors and creeds and religions of the earth, and flooding each one with light, so that the bloodlines were all going to be purified, and that we would be making, we were programmed for this moment in time, but here's the kicker. It's so beautiful. It's like I got dropped into the dark ones who thought, okay, we're going to give you the end times programming, and you're just a little girl, and when that day comes, you're going to be evil, and we want you to do this and that to these people over here, and we want you to take their energy and their money and blah, blah, blah. So that's what they were doing to 50 million Americans and a billion people all over the world that were being mind controlled for this end time scenario, the dark scenario. Well, guess what? I got programmed as an angel before I got here to overcome that. And so mom was my savior, in that she taught me so much healing and brought so much healing into my life, so I could wake up, and then boom, I'm awake for my end times programming of angelic light.
Right.
So instead of being a baddie,
an agent of evil, you mean?
Yeah.
An agent of evil. Yeah.
I have my own end times programming, and so do you, and so do thousands of us that drop down in here to reprogram this planet for purity and sovereignty and light, healing, and the perfect DNA. So they didn't count. Well, I think they knew when they saw me coming, but I don't think they counted on how powerful we were going to be.
No.
So we divine mothers have arrived, we goddesses have arrived, and we have brought to you the solution to everything that is happening on this planet, Kimberly. And I know that you know all this. I'm just speaking to the choir here,
to the people who, exactly.
And it's good news for all of you that the battle has been won. And Yeshua told me directly, you know, once in a while he comes to me, not as, it seems like you talk to him more often than I do, but he told me years ago, before I realized exactly what I was going to do, he visited me and said, and explained to me that I had been through different lifetimes and many lifetimes with him. And my last lifetime, I died in Dachau. And he said, I'm back again because I want to remind you of what you're really going to do here. And he said, it's really important that you do not let them trap you, because this time we're going to finish it. He said, we're back and we've been coming back, but this time we're going to finish it. We're going to get the job done. And these dudes are off the planet.
Yeah, I was promised that too, which is the only reason I'm here right now, because I haven't been in a physical body in 2000 years. I came in here last time trying to ascend the people, because we all came as a group of us with Yeshua. We came with him in to help teach the people how to ascend until the first, I call him the first Antichrist, Constantine, went and created his Vatican, his Luciferian Vatican, and ruined all the teachings, destroyed the first Bible that was written, the original Bible. They destroyed it. First, they ripped out 700 books out of it, and then they left the stuff that they could use to mind control people, and then they perverted everything, shifted it around, all the stories, everything was reversed, like the whole thing about the rapture. Yeah, you know who's being raptured off of planet Earth? Not us. The bad guys. The bad guys are being raptured. I keep telling people
everything is reversed.
Everything is all reversed and all inverted. They invert everything. And 2000 years I waited to come back and to launch this plan. 2000 years before, you know, so
well, and then we're coming together now aren't we, as divine mothers to, I see us gathering again like we did 2000 years ago. And you were there, I was there, a lot of us were there. And I received the message very clearly that a lot of truth about what happened then is going to come out that's been suppressed. And the fact that we females have been suppressed, and that it's time for people to know the power of the female is equal to the power of the male. And there was Christed female just as much as there was Christed male. And that Jesus was not that Yeshua was not the only one, is not the only one, and that there are other Christed beings.
Christ consciousness. It's a consciousness. It's a whole bunch of beings, and there are females. Isis is one. There's Lakshmi, there's Kuan Yin, there's white buffalo calf woman. Yeah. There's white buffalo calf woman. There's Kuan Yin, of course, and Mother Mary Magdalene, whole bunch of divas from the Hindu, from the Vedic tradition that are part of that. There's
Kali Durga,
a whole bunch of
Parvati, Lakshmi, and And I come from that tradition as well, because,
Mhm.
yeah, I know I was with Yeshua, but I also,
This
it's,
guy, he's part of
yeah,
Christ consciousness, the
oh,
Buddha.
definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, what faith these people were. There's people that reach ascension. There were people that cross over into their divinity. And that's what we're all going to be doing.
Right.
When I found Amici, I was just like, stunned beyond belief that I was in the presence of this woman. And
The
it's
hugging saint.
obviously, oh my God. I mean, she's
This is
obviously
incredible.
the highest incarnation of a female divine mother energy on the planet at this time.
I agree. I agree. My best friend actually got to go see her in person, and I wasn't able to go with her that day because I think we were in the middle of moving. We were actually in the middle of moving to the other side of the state, and she came and she spoke, and my best friend went. And you know what I told her? I said, when you go up, you darn well better give her a hug from me. You better give her a hug from me, because
She's going to know.
yeah.
Let me tell you. Well, I've gone every year, twice a year since the day I met her. Of course, we can't right now. And she, by the way, told us about this 20 years ago. In
Mhm.
2002, she started telling us, there's going to come a time where you can't travel. And during that time, there's going to be a divine flash, which is what she calls it. And that flash is going to purify the whole earth. So I believe that might be happening in April, folks. And
I
when
hope
that
so.
happens, yeah, when that happens, we're going to be flooded with love. It's not going to be flooded with evil. We're going to be flooded
No,
with
and you're not going to be
love.
disintegrated. A lot of people think they're going to die, that it's going to, because I've heard a bunch of spiritual people saying, oh, we can never have any of those flashes because your whole body would disintegrate. It's like, what a bunch of crap. You could have a flash of love frequency. There's all
You can
kinds
have
of
well,
different.
some people may not survive it, but
Yeah, really
when you get a
evil
flash
people
of
may
love, it's
disintegrate.
going to open your heart. And she said it's going to happen between January 1st, 2020 and December 31st, 2022. That's what she told us. And she told us about 6 or 7 times that I went and see her. She talked about it. She also said that there would be certain things happening, like there would be no traveling. There would be, you'd see men and women you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. They would look the same. And she said that it's not a good time to have children. It would be dangerous for children. So I think she's describing what we're going through right now.
Right now. Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
so I know it's coming because she's 100% there. I mean, she's not going to lie to us about anything. If she could, she's like Jesus. She could create a child in a woman's womb, and I've so many miracles just to me
Right.
personally.
I haven't seen her in person, but I've read thousands online of testimonials of massive miraculous healings that she's created. I mean, she's an amazing
Including,
saint.
well, the first year, the reason I found her is I was living in Mexico. My daughter gave me a book about her life, and I had gone there to heal from cancer. And so I was reading this book, and as soon as I got to her, there was several other women in the book. I went, oh my God, this is the only one who's alive. The rest of them were women who had already passed on. I just flipped. I mean, I thought I have to meet this woman, and I started to pray to her, and she appeared to me in the place I was living in a trailer. And then not long after that, my car broke down. I was living on the desert in Mexico. I was running a mango orchard, and it's 125 degrees,
Oh
and I
my
didn't have
God.
water. And I had to drive to town an hour away to get water, and I couldn't get my car started. And I just thought, my God, what am I going to do? Guess what? Alma shows up with another divine mother, and they show up. That's not a solid body, but they show up. They're there. It's their soul is there, and they
It's
literally
like a holograph. It's really a
Yes,
holograph of them, is what it is.
it is.
Yeah.
Kind of like you saw in Star
And
Wars.
Star Wars with
when,
Princess Leia.
Yeah, when she comes out of R2D2.
Yep.
That's what they look like. And they stood there and they told me how to fix my engine so that I could drive to town. Literally,
Wow.
they're like, okay, you need to connect this here and da, 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 da. So I did exactly what they told me to do.
Wow.
Car started, went into town, I
Wow.
got some water, and I said, okay, that's it. These ladies are effing divine.
That's the real, they're the real deal.
Yeah.
Well, a
And so
demon's
that
not
was
going to
my
tell you.
introduction to Amachi. Pardon me?
A demon will not tell you how to save your life. They want to kill you. So they are not going to show up and tell you how to fix something, because there might be people listening to this broadcast that say, how does she know those weren't demonic entities? Well, because they saved her life. Do you think a demon's going to save her life? No, 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 no,
And
no,
she
no, no.
saved my life several more
Yeah.
times after
Mhm.
that, as well as my family members' lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes she would warn me about things. I mean, she's just like incredible. She's really incredible. And then since then, the male counterpart of that energy has shown up. So it's the sacred feminine,
Oh,
divine masculine. Yeah, Shiva has appeared to me now in my life. And because I've been chanting Om Namah Shivaya for over
yeah,
20
I know
years,
that one.
I didn't really think about it. But that is
Om Shama
Shiva's chant.
Shivaya.
And it's,
Yeah.
he used to say, I don't want anybody to say any other words except Om Namah Shivaya, because it says take refuge in Shiva, which means take refuge in God and everything's okay, when that happens. So I've been chanting that, not knowingly for like since 25 years, also the chant that Amma gave me. And during the course of this last huge event that I had where I lost my house in the fire in California, and then we had to go into a shelter, a FEMA shelter. We were thrown out of the FEMA shelter. They were horrible people. And as a result of that, I got very sick because I had to evacuate, and then I got thrown out of the shelter, and I couldn't, there was nowhere to go. So I had to go to a hotel. And I received a phone call from someone I didn't even know, but she'd been following me on Facebook. And she said that Shiva had appeared in her room and told her to give me enough money for 2 weeks in the hotel room so that I could recover. I did
Wow.
not know this woman. We'd never met, and she had
Wow.
never messaged me before. So she sent
Wow.
me enough money. She paid for my hotel room for 2 weeks. And I
Wow.
mean, during that 2 weeks, I was really sick from just the trauma of the event. And then after that, I was able to stay with a friend for a little while. But then was that journey that you know about, where I'm crossing the United States looking for a home. So the reason I'm mentioning all this is I want people to understand that there are miracles, and the miracles are,
Yeah, every day.
even when it's scary, miracles are happening to show you the way. And I've had the way shown to me, and it's beautiful. Now I am a homeowner in Florida after a lifetime of not having my own home. I was guided here, and then I was able to buy this house, and it's just incredible. I mean, I wouldn't have qualified in California, but it worked out here. So
Yep.
it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. And then comes the awakening. And folks, it starts next week. I mean, if you haven't already begun, start now and come and see me or Kimberly, and we're going to help you get through it.
Yeah, and you all need to know too that the work that Seleni does is, we don't compete with each other, because she does completely, I'm not a Reiki master. I'm a level 2 Reiki practitioner, but I don't do energy healing on people anymore. That's not my thing. I give soul readings to people. I counsel people. I'm a medical intuitive and health coach. I do that, but I don't do energy work on people. That is Seleni's thing. Seleni is an expert bomb ass energy healer. She is like amazing at it. Okay. That's her thing. And she also counsels people, but the kind of counseling work she does is very different from what I do. She focuses on different things. If you have a session with me and you have one with Seleni, you're not going to get the same information or the same anything. It's going to be completely different. So that's important to know. And all of my sisters who I work with, none of us are in competition with each other. We all have special gifts that the Lord has given us, that God has given us. We come to this earth with special empowered gifts that we are using to serve humanity with. And all of our gifts are very unique from each other. None of us do anything the same way. None of us do anything the same way.
Yeah, everybody has their own divine blueprint. So, and competition is part of the dark
That's
plan.
the third density thing, is light workers competing against each other is very third density.
And there's
we
enough
need to
for
all work
everybody.
together.
There's
we need
enough
to
to
all
go
work
around for everybody.
together.
And each of us, one of the things Spirit told me is not to be fearful of my income, because they said what's for you is just for you, and what's for others are for others, and each person has something allotted for them. And so she's absolutely right when she's describing the differences. And let me just say a little more about it. And that is like, Like I do past life regressions. I do soul retrievals for broken soul parts. So I'm working on trauma. I do a lot of trauma healing. And so people will come to me who've been traumatized, and I take them into soul regressions and get their broken soul parts. I look at past karma, and sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. I do some hypnosis to help them go down into get the broken soul part. And just counseling, like, I mean, health coaching as well. I mean, I'm also a licensed addictions counselor. I'm a licensed colon hydrotherapist. I'm a licensed masseuse, body worker. So I did body work for a lot of years, which I don't do anymore. And the Reiki has always been my favorite. I am a Reiki master, and I was selected by Mrs. Takata to be her successor. So I do a lot of really high level Reiki work, which I call the path of the Divine Mother. For people who don't understand what energy work is, for when I work with people, it's more about spiritual awakening than it is just healing your body. Is that when people start going with me for a long time, they enter into a spiritual awakening. And I know that you do that too in your own way. But like, if it wasn't for Reiki, I wouldn't have woken up. It didn't just heal me physically, it woke me up spiritually. So it was the energy of God, coming into me and awakening me. And then now it's the energy of the goddess has entered me. And she is telling me to share with the world that the sacred feminine has arrived to heal you. And that is what's going to heal the earth right now, isn't it?
Yes, the divine feminine. So we don't have a ton of time left. Really quick, what I really want to talk about to everyone is what is the divine feminine and masculine. And I'm going to kind of start off by just saying that the divine feminine masculine embodied earth when we were 5D back 20 plus out, really like 26 to 30,000 plus years ago, when this was 5D earth and it was the Garden of Eden, the divine masculine and feminine was here. What is that? Love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness. There's a lot of things about the divine feminine. I did a video all about this on my YouTube channel already, but I wanted Salini to address this topic because her approach to it and mine are a little different maybe. And I want Salini, can you explain to everybody exactly what you see the divine feminine as and the divine masculine? Why do you think they were taken away from this planet, and how are we bringing it all back now? Do you want to share that?
That's a pretty tall order, but I'll
do you want to try to make a stab at it? I can help if you need help.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the galactic history that has been denied us. So we haven't been told the truth about our galactic history, and that there was wars in heaven that have been going on for millions of years, and the planet was captured by alien forces. So Star Wars is real, and a lot of these shows, Star Trek,
documentary.
And there really was aliens that came here and took over this planet. So, when you see pictures of the Egyptian pharaohs with their headpieces, those were
elongated, Anunnakis.
And even on Saturday Night Live, where they used to have the cone heads, those were a reference to the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki it was a foreign race, and they weren't all evil, but the ones that took over Earth, they infiltrated the leaders of this planet, specifically the Romans, and then they interbred with the Romans. And then it became the suppression. Well, the Romans clashed with the pagans and the Celtics. The pagans and the Celtics, and like the Lemurians and people like that, were the nature people, the elementals, the fairies, the spirits, the garden people, the people of the earth, and that were natural. But the Anunnaki did not want the earth to be natural. They did not want there to be pure life here. And they did not want there to be the feminine energy that creates life. They didn't want the ovary. They didn't want the DNA. They didn't want the pure human here anymore. So they made an attack on the divine feminine, because we are the creators of life. So they suppressed the divine feminine and pushed that energy into outer space. And that energy in outer space is today called dark matter, which scientists have been studying for a long, long time. And they have words for it. And that's a whole nother show. But
that's
science and technology they're coming together. And what I want to say about that is, as an abused child, where I was forced to go out into my higher self to survive during the abuse, I went into the dark matter. And I'm here to tell you the dark matter is pure divine feminine energy. And it's just waiting to flood the earth. And the men are also scared of it. Ooh, what's going to happen with the dark matter? You know, it's like, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's just like going back into the womb, which all these guys have been trying to do ever since we became women. What's going to happen is it's going to flood the earth, and it's going to flood the earth with love. And it doing that causes an awakening of your divine potential, your creative potential, your DNA, everything. And the aliens that took over this planet do not want you to wake up. They do not want you to have love. They do not want you to know how powerful you really are. They got us in this dumbed down state, and they got us enslaved with debt and physical illnesses and all the different, the template. It's a broken template they gave us for entering into this earth, which was filled with all kinds of corrupted materials, corrupted DNA, and no love and mind control. So when the divine feminine, this is what's happening right now. The war that's happening on this planet, you can call it whatever you want to call it, the Ukraine war, or, you know, the
apocalypse, whatever they want.
You know what, against the white hats, or whatever you want to call it, is actually a war between the perverted masculine and the divine feminine.
Exactly.
And so the divine feminine has declared her power and claimed it. And she said, we're coming back, boys, you know, step off the stage, because we're going to come. So we are actually penetrating the perverted male right now, so to use their terminology. You know, we are flooding them with love, and it's going to heal that energy. So there's this conflict going on right now between the energies that are flooding the earth, and the female is going to win. The divine feminine is going to win, because she's going to change the nature of the masculine back to sacred masculine. And when the masculine accepts and worships the female again as sacred, the earth is healed. And when they don't need to conquer us, you know, this is how rape and murder got started. Is there used to be, we lived in harmony here, and men weren't raping women all the time. You know, the women were often the leaders, and the men were the helpers, and it wasn't, nobody was dominating. But when the men, something happened, which I think was a
it's
mind
reptilian.
control.
It's reptilian, because the reptilian takes all the love away and all the heart. They have no heart chakra. You know, the reptiles, they have zero heart chakra. There's no love, no compassion, no kindness. It's all AI, kind of very Borgy, kind of the Borg, you know, kind of thing. And they that's why it's easy for them to rape, kill, and eat billions of babies and children, because they have no love, no compassion, no nothing, like nothing, you know, they're devoid of all that.
And so they blocked the love from coming in, because they knew that that is what would end their reign on earth. And instead they took control of the bodies of women. They took control of the energy of women, the Shakti, as it's known in the Hindu faith, is divine Shakti. So I'm like, Shiva Shakti, you know, Shiva and I are together. I'm Shakti, Shiva's Shiva. Together it's sacred masculine and divine feminine. And so the divine feminine has reclaimed her territory. This is the moment. This is what I believe. I was telling you about the chart. It could even be what Putin's all about. I'm surprisingly enough, is that there's a yod over him, which is a divine energy. And I thought maybe he's going to allow the sacred feminine to enter into this battle. I don't know. I think it's very interesting, but it's happening, because I can feel it inside of me that it's like, don't stop me. I'm going to talk. And they've been trying to, you know, I've been censored for 14, 15 months now, almost completely, which has stopped everything for me. And I'm declaring my power. I'm claiming it to all of you right now, that you will not censor me. You will not stop me. I am entering into this space with love. And it's the end of duality, Kimberly. That's the other thing, is that this world has been in duality, where
everything's separated. It's, I hate you because you're black. I hate you because you're white. I hate you because you're Jew. I hate you because you're Muslim. I hate you because you're Christian. And separating us all, divide and conquer, divide and conquer.
Putting us into caste, like the caste system in India, or the financial caste systems, or the feminine versus
Or
the men.
the royalty versus the serfs
Right.
and the servants and all of that in
Right. And
England,
then the
that
black
whole,
people were
yeah.
slaves, and then the women have been slaves. And, at one time or another, everybody's been a slave, and now everybody's a debt slave. So that all comes to an end because we merge as one in one consciousness. The one consciousness is the yin and the yang. And
Mhm.
it's perfect harmony. Those of you who know what the yin and yang looks like, it's like almost like a fish on each side, or a amoeba or something. And then there's a dark and the light in each of the two parts. When it's perfectly blended in harmony, there's no competition, there's no war, everybody's healed and we're
Mhm.
whole. And then is when we work as a team in community. And we have entered that period of history. The age of Aquarius has already begun. The divine feminine appeared again on the planet in 2012, on December 21st, 2012.
Mhm.
And she has made her way to this moment in time, which could be next week.
Mhm.
And you're going to see a burst of light. And then you're going to feel flooded with joy and love,
That'd be nice. I'm
People
looking
are going
forward
to
to
start
that.
feeling it's Easter, it's spring, and it'll be Yeshua's energy again. It'll be Mary Magdalene's energy. It'll be Mother Mary. And this time it's the females are going to get recognized. And I'm not saying anything against men. I'm just saying that this time, all the years we sat on the sideline, all the years were blocked. This time we get to share our gifts. We get to be powerful. We get to be healing everybody. And there's going to be 400 years of it coming.
Mhm.
The events of April will take us 400 years to acclimate to. I'm predicting that to all of you right now. That's how dramatic April is going to be for everyone. And it's never gonna be the same. This is the last week of the old world. If there's something you want to do, you want to go to get a beer, watch a football game, go buy a
You better do it
generator.
now. You
Yeah,
better
do
do it now.
everything. Do it now.
So I have something to input into this, Salini. So
Okay.
I didn't tell you this. So you guys, you got to all hear this. Okay. So this was a week ago. I had a tarot reading with my BFF, Sarah Nash, who is like one of the best tarot card readers on the planet, Reverend Sarah Nash. She's a Reverend. And she's awesome. Okay. So she's reading my cards. And the last row is not just for me, but it's for the world. It's for the collective. And she starts saying how this last row is all the collective. And she goes, this card is the month of April. And what do you think the card was?
What?
Awakening.
Cool.
And that was for the whole world. She goes, this isn't just for you, hun. This is for the planet. Awakening. That was the card that came up for the month of April.
That chokes me up.
Yeah.
I'm just like you. I've just had enough of this darkness. It's
I've been tortured for 3 years now by people in my life who have been horrible to me. It's been awful. So the quicker they can hear the truth and apologize and move on, we can move on with our lives, the better it would be.
I just had another big blow, which I think is interesting. It's very connected to just this very thing. Is I just found out a couple days ago that my mother's property that was in my name and was always meant to be mine, and we did ceremony there. Her ashes are there. Reiki was done there. There were so many things all about the mother, and it was her house. Nobody ever lived there, but she bought it. And my brother took everything else, and so did other people. So it was the one last thing that I was hoping I was going to get. And I thought it was still in my name, and I thought, well, someday he'll sell it and we'll be able to split that. I just found out that he had sold it without my knowledge and kept it a secret and told me he was renting it. And so it was sold 8 years ago, and all that money he's already spent, and all the land around it and everything that went with it. So it was like my mother heart got ripped out. I just felt like, I was going to make it for my daughters. I was going to remodel it for them and let them live there. And I felt this great sorrow, the mother sorrow for this planet, all the women that have been violated. I've been violated so many times by the men of this planet, and especially my family. And it's not even funny, and they continue to live in luxury and in mansions all over the world. But I just felt a severing, a complete severing from this dark consciousness, like so much so I felt like it came out of my heart. Something came out of my heart, like they left my heart too.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like
Yeah.
there's a new world coming that does
Uh-huh.
not include them. Literally. There's no place for people that are that evil to your own
Uh-huh.
sister and daughter and brother and mother. It's just that kind of evil. There's no more room for that. And Alma
Mm-hmm.
promised me that they would all be gone. She said, when this is over, they're going to close the opening on the bottom of the earth where the
Uh-huh.
dark ones come in, and they will never be allowed here again. This will be paradise.
You,
That's what she told me.
everything you're saying to me, right? Everything you're saying to everybody on this broadcast right now is confirming what I got. Like I got literally, every word that you've been saying that she said is all the same information that I
Oh,
received
good.
from my sources, my, team. I got the same information. So I'm just kind of nodding my head here going, uh-huh, yeah, know that. Uh-huh, yeah, know that. And the fact that they're never going to be allowed here again, they're being, what is the word? Not extradited. What is that word when you're exiled? Exiled. Yeah, they're
They
being,
violated too many
they
people.
violated all of the natural laws of the universe. There's a thing that everybody goes by in space. It's called the law of one. They violated all the laws of the universe, all of them, over and over again. And they are bad. It's not just a hand slap. They're, we're talking burn in hell kind of thing, man. They're out of here for eternity. A lot of them, by the way, are being recycled back to source and already have been. I listened to a video with Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot, I think it is. And she's talked to a lot of white hat insiders. She's connected, and she gets all the info. And then she was interviewing this Kim Goguen person or whatever. I don't really know much about her, and I don't know if I trust.
know a lot about her, but anyways.
Yeah, I don't talk bad things about anyone ever. You'll never hear me talk bad about anyone because that's not who I am as a spiritual being. I can't do that. But I will tell you, I've been following Carrie for a long time, and I do agree with the fact that she said that a whole bunch of them have been recycled back to source. A bunch of them were already recycled. So I do believe that happened, that a bunch of them were recycled. And I think that there's going to be a lot more that are going to be recycled. And supposedly a bunch of them were supposed to hand over the key codes down in Antarctica, and they reneged on the whole thing. They reneged on all of it.
They did a manhunt on them probably then, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's all going on with that, but all I know is now people are putting all over social media a broadcast from Fox News stating,
yes, I saw it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about that. And I'm like, was that real? I mean, I didn't see it when it was actually on the news. I'm just seeing this video. And anytime I show a video like that to my family members, they're like, oh, any video can be edited to look like that. So unless they saw it on the news themselves, they would never believe it. They just.
Yeah. Well, actually, that particular quote is from Clarence Thomas's, the Supreme Court Justice's wife, to Mark Meadows, Mr. T's chief of staff, and she was describing an event that was happening offshore. And these are insider patriots, so they're not going to talk about something that isn't happening.
I heard he was poisoned. Are you the one that told me he was poisoned, or was that my friend Julie?
But I only just today I got a message saying they think that he's gone.
Oh, they think he's gone because I heard he was poisoned from a friend this morning who's a really high level light worker.
Is he surviving? Is he surviving? I don't know. The point is that that Clarence Thomas has shown himself to be a true patriot, which is surprising given his start. And so he and his wife have been, standing up for who. And then she is messaging Mr. T's chief of staff and telling him what she's been hearing. This is an inside text and insider information. The fact that they announced it on national TV is a rarity, and it's probably because the newscaster doesn't really understand what it means, and somebody probably gave it to him. It was because you could hear in his voices, he's like, wow, this is like really incredible. And then he goes and he starts saying it, and it's exactly what's happening. And I have received confirmation about that particular video. So it's real. It really happened. And
Wow. I hope he's still alive, because what I got, when I checked in spiritually on him myself, and what I got was the bad guys poisoned him. And my friend called me today and she said, because that's what I had gotten. And then my friend called me and she goes, guess what? He was poisoned. And I'm like, okay, thanks for confirming that for me, because that's what I got, that he was
shame.
poisoned by the bad
Yeah, and
guys.
he's brave. He's been very brave
Mhm.
during this whole thing to be the only one on
Mhm.
there is another one that voted on behalf of Mr. T. I think it was Alioto,
Mhm.
or I can't remember the name, but anyway, when you've got the whole government against you, my goodness, I wouldn't want to be in his position at
Yeah.
all. We should pray for him, because I didn't know about this until today. I didn't hear
Mhm.
about it at all. I'm going to ask my followers to pray for him. Let's hope he's going to make it. And so we have some pretty shocking events going on, and pretty shocking events coming. And you're going to see Mr. T again, folks. And not sure where he's going to be, but I think it's going to be really good news. I really do. I think we're going to have some very good news. At the same time, some folks are going to fall. Somebody's going to go down.
Mhm.
And I think the leaders, that's what it was. April 17th, the alignment was, and I don't remember the alignment now, but that's the date the leaders are going to fall. So we're going to see some people go down. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, and another one was somebody's going to flip out, because they're under so much pressure by their dark masters that they're going to just kind of lose it. And I think it's going to be Justin Trudeau. I think he's probably be the first one to
Well,
flip.
he's already just saying all kinds of psychopathic stuff out of his mouth when he's speaking in front of his Congress, and they're all, they don't like him. But I mean, he's the ultimate communist, because he's the son of Fidel Castro, and he's
Also definitely an MK Ultra.
yeah, he is. But he's turned that whole country of Canada into a communist campground, like a giant communist campground, which to me is
doing here.
Yeah, and to me that's really upsetting. Why? Because I'm half Canadian. My mother was Canadian, and my
really?
mother's entire family is in Canada. They're all in Canada. And
Are
so
they up there?
yeah, whoever's left, I mean, because a lot of my family's already dead, they've already died because they were older and stuff. I mean, my mom's gone, my parents are gone, but I have hundreds of cousins in Canada, like all over Canada. They're spread all over Canada. All my aunts and uncles are gone, but that were up there in Canada. But I have all their children, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren. They're all spread out all over Canada, and so I have a really tight bond with Canada because of that, because of my family, and because since I was a child, I've been going back and forth to Canada to see my family. So anything that goes wrong in that country, it affects me on a personal level every single time. It's upsetting to me, because it's my mother's, roots, my mother's family's roots. And he's taken that. And let me tell you, the Canadian people are some of the kindest, most friendliest. They say they're the friendliest country in the world. I agree with that, because whenever I go up there, everywhere you go, people are smiling, they're nice to you, they're kind to you, they're polite everywhere you go. I mean, you go to the island of Victoria, British Columbia, which is where the capital of BC is, and the people are so nice, and they'll stand there and they'll tell you like what to go see and do, and they'll go on and they'll tell you their whole life story. I mean, Canadian people are some of the kindest people on the planet. So to see this shit, excuse my language, happen to them in their country, to be coldly taken over by these communist psychopaths, very upsetting to me. Very upsetting. So I want to see those people freed up there from the tyranny that they've been turned into up there. And what really blows me away is all of my Patriot friends that are up there tell me, Kimberly, do you know that most of the Canucks are asleep and they've all taken the thing? A good portion of them, majority, a lot more than in our country, actually, way more than in our country, have taken that. That's how brainwashed they are. They're totally brainwashed.
One of the prophecies, I know it's really sad, one of the prophecies that Edgar Cayce said, among others, was that Russia would be the savior of the world. But he also said that everyone's going to wake up. There's going to come a time after 2020 where everybody wakes up. And that's going to include even these people, because their consciousness is going to be affected by this light that's going to come in April. And this light is going to shock everybody awake, and they're all going to be like, oh my God, what were we thinking? And when that happens, we're all going to start talking to each other again, and it's going to be the path to awakening will clear. And I think Edgar Cayce was the one who said that in the future, after this event happens, people will be more concerned about spiritual awakening than anything else. It won't be money, it won't be houses, it won't be, hot boyfriends and girlfriends. It'll be people to realize that there's only one reason we're here, and that is to wake up and to ascend, and that it's going to be a universal realization, and the whole world will become spiritualized. I believe that is coming this year for us, and it's not an overnight process, but that's what you and I were born for, isn't it, Kimberly? That's what we came to do.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of because when you are psychic, you can't a lot of times see like your own stuff, and you can't see the people closest to you, so you wind up going to other psychic friends. Like I'll call you up and say, hey Salini, what do you think about blah blah blah, because we go to each other, because if you're emotionally tied to it, you can't see it because your ego gets in the way and your emotions get in the way. So when I give a reading to a stranger, it's going to be 100% accurate because I have zero ego involved and zero personal tie to that person. Like I don't have any personal, like emotional, like tie to that person. Right. So it's so funny because I was told by a whole bunch of different people that my main mission of why I really came here was to be a major spiritual leader in the new earth. What does that mean? They told me I'm literally going to be leading millions of people. Millions.
That's what I've been hearing.
Millions.
Well, there's
Millions.
going to be a lot of lost souls. So some of us that have been working on this a long time will be called. And I say to all of your listeners, you're going to be called as well. You have a divine blueprint. You have a reason. You have a purpose here, and that you just didn't know because they kept it secret from you. They wiped your memory when you entered the earth, or they compromised your soul in some way. And all of a sudden you're going to awaken to who you are. Maybe you're a singer, a writer, an architect, a dancer, an electrician, or who knows what it is that you're going to do. But each of you will be called, because it took only the strongest souls were allowed to come here at this time. And there were billions and billions of souls that petitioned to come during the Great Awakening. Do you realize that you won the lottery when you got here? As hard as it is, you won the lottery. Everybody, and all of you will be waking up, and you're going to get a chance. This is the reason why it's so important to be here right now, is that this is the fastest evolution that your soul could ever possibly achieve in one lifetime, is during this Great Awakening. It's going to be rapid movement towards your ascension in a very short space of time that you normally will not have. And then it's going to die down here. And I'm telling you, there's not going to be a 3D earth anymore. We're always going to be living in 5D after that. So those who don't grasp a hold of it are headed back home with the father and the mother, and they'll have to come to a different timeline somewhere and work on it again. So that's why it's imperative that you work with people like Kimberly and I, and that we want to get you there, So I hope you'll check me out at salini.love is my website, and you can book a session there for everything from a soul consultation and healing to a holistic makeover. I do a holistic makeover. I do past life regression. Or if you don't have any money, consider buying my book. It's available as an ebook too. And there's tons of information in there for people. There's tons of awakening information. That's why I wrote it, because I thought, well, maybe I'm not going to live much longer, because they kept trying to kill me, Kimberly, family members.
Well, they've tried to kill me, and they even tried to do it up just last April, a year ago. They tried to take me out 2 times in a row in the same day with a massive car cataclysm where a car went rolling. It was like watching a movie in front of my face. We were on a windy mountainous road, and this car literally hits the cliff and starts rolling over in the air and almost landing on top of my car. And if my daughter wouldn't have steered away as quick as she did, because she had an impulse to steer away, I wouldn't even be sitting here talking to you right now. I'd be dead. I'd be gone. So
well, the angels were watching over you, weren't they?
Absolutely. And then that same evening, coming back on the same direction, but not on that road, but coming back that way, because we were on a little vacation, and we went into town to get pizza, and then we were coming back. A car accident happened literally like minutes before we got to this one spot where we got to. But if we would have left when I wanted to leave at the specific time. And my daughter's like, no, we're not leaving yet, blah, blah, blah. And she was fighting me. If we would have left when I wanted to leave, the car would have, we would have been in that accident with that lady. So it just, they do it. They try, they fail, and they're going to fail, because I want everybody who's watching this to listen very strongly to what I have to say. Everybody who is here right now, who's awake with us right now, we're part of what's called the first wave of the awakening, or whatever. We all chose to come here to help all of the rest of the planet. And because of that, the universe has our back. What does that mean? You are angelically protected beyond all imagination. The dark ones will try to take you out over and over, and they will fail and fail and fail. They will never, ever succeed, because God has a plan for you, and you have a plan for you. You and God worked on this plan before you came here, and they're not going to let those psychopaths stop you in your plans. They're not going to allow you to be stopped. So don't have any fear. Don't walk around being afraid, because that will block your root chakra, which has to do with security and safety and money, also finances. Don't block your root chakra by going, oh my God, the dark side's going to take me out. No. Spread your light, and keep spreading your light, and know that you are angelically protected. And maybe tell your angels a couple times a day, thank you, because they do like to be acknowledged. So, have a little chat with your angels. I thank mine every day. Say, thank you so much for putting up with all my crap, because I know I'm a pain in the ass, which I don't see how I'm going to be leading millions of people. I have stage fright, I have low self-esteem, and I'm a pain in the ass. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but supposedly I made that deal.
Well, God chooses who God wants. God got
Yeah.
us. And look at Mr. T, who became our president. He's far from perfect, but he was the man for the job because of his understanding of how things work. And the same with Mr. P. So, people are chosen for all kinds of different reasons from all different walks of life. And sometimes you need to be a pain in the ass, I think one of my favorite stories is the machine gun preacher, the guy that was a drug dealer and used to shoot people and beat people up and stuff in like Philadelphia. And I get he almost killed someone, and then that person survived, and his wife dragged him to church, and she said, you better pray for forgiveness from God, or you're not going to be here much longer. So she kept nudging him, and he went up to the front because they called out for who wants to, be redeemed. And she's, so he went up there, and he received some kind of blessing, and he ended up becoming a born again Christian. And he's the one that ended up in Uganda when they had this black army, the Lord's Revolution Army, with this group of this guy that was kidnapping children, black children. And they created this horrible, murderous army. And he happened to show up and was building a church there when they kidnapped a bunch of children. And that was the beginning of his career. And so he got a bunch of guns and he went over there, and he went and rescued all the little boys from this army and returned them to their mothers, or he built an orphanage where they could live with him. And he changed his entire life. And everybody's like, well, you used to be a drug dealer and shoot guns. And he said, well, how do you think you're gonna get these kids back from these murderous tribal members? That's what we had to do to get all these little boys back, to save their lives. So now he has this huge orphanage and a school and a hospital over there. He was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. So the story is simply to illustrate that anybody can be, every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future, however you want to look.
Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes,
So don't be so hard on yourself, okay?
Yeah.
God's got a job for you too.
Yeah, don't be, you guys that are watching, with all your flaws, you need to just love yourself the way God loves you unconditionally. You need to see, and that's the thing, the difference between the divine feminine and the divine masculine versus the psychopathic crap that they've been pushing on us on this planet for the last thousands of years, which is devoid of all unconditional love. Divine masculine and feminine is all about unconditional agape love, which is what Christ was teaching. And I'm actually going to do a video about that this week. I'm going to be teaching you guys all about the difference between love, that some people think what love is, what you've been schooled, which is the cabal version of what love is, the reptilian version of love versus the Christ version of love. Those are two totally different things. And that's what your parents have taught you. It's what the schools taught you. It's what all your ancestors were indoctrinated into. And it's the wrong kind of love. It's the bad one.
Well, and
And
I just want to insert there real quick, and then it's something we should talk about in another show, is that what I see with the men of this planet is they've been indoctrinated to have the profane version of sex and the profane image of women. And it's this constant sexual
children
addiction.
and women are just sex objects to just be used and defiled
Right.
over and over again.
And constantly over and over images, and their sex drive is overinflated and just nonstop. And that isn't the way, that's not sacred masculine and divine feminine.
No.
It's when the woman is treated sacredly, every blessing can come to her partner, because she then is the divine feminine.
Yes.
And from the divine feminine, all blessings flow. So abundance flows from the divine feminine. So when you abuse the females in your life, you cut off the source of God's divine love. So maybe that's a good closing point.
Yeah, I think that's closing, and we got to go because my time is up. I've got to go do some important things because I have a women's group I'm teaching in a little bit here. So thank you so much, Seleni, for finally being here with me. We waited forever for this to happen with all of the crazy with you moving, because we were supposed to do this before the move. We were, there's just all these different things that got in the way. I'm so glad you have your own place to live in now, and you're in the most awesome place to live. I mean, it's one of the best states in the United States at this point right now. Man. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? God guided me here. It was so amazing to me is that I received a copy of a magazine that was like all about places to retire, the best places to retire, the most economical cities in the United States. It was, a couple of magazines came to me, and this city was named the #1 place to move to in the United States. I was blown away. I'd never even heard of it before. So, I'm definitely brought here for a reason. And so are each person who's listening today. You will be brought to your divine location, wherever that is.
Yep. I was moved like 400 miles away from where I used to live. I don't tell on social media where I live because I don't need people to know that, but I was moved about 400 miles for a purpose. And I'm glad I did, because the area where I used to live is probably going to be destroyed, unfortunately. So yeah, it's, or let's just put it this way. There's going to be mass chaos in that area because it's totally blue. Totally. Everybody in that area is so blue and so left-wing radical crazy pants that it's going to be the downfall. I mean, it's going to be bad for them over there. So I'm really, really glad that I got away from the crazy pants blue land. And yeah, really, really crazy. Oh boy. All I can tell you is everybody is being forced to move right now. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are being forced by their teams. They're when I call team, your higher self committee, your angels, your guides, God, whatever, your higher self. People are being forced, not all of them, but a lot of people are being forced to do what we call a diaspora, where we're moving to it's like a great diaspora. We're moving and relocating to places where we are called to work, called to lead, where we are going to be safe. We're going to be safer because a lot of people are in areas right now that are currently unsafe, and they're going to be moved to places that are safer. Like think about all of the people who are Ukrainian who immigrated in the last few years to the US, and they may not have known why they came here, but they came here for some reason. Well, you can see what's going on now over there. So that's part of why they moved,
They're going to be okay under Putin. They will be. Putin has promised them the birth of a new financial system and a steady salary every month. under Jasara. So
yeah, I have
they
an
would
issue
have-
with all the people who've been killed. There's a lot of children and babies, and a lot of people are saying, oh, that's phony news. It's not phony, because I have friends and clients that are over there, and they have witnessed people getting
and
killed
it's
and
Ukrainian.
harmed.
I just watched a news
Yeah.
report, French news reporter say,
Mhm.
I'm in the villages. It's the Ukrainian government that's killing everybody, and it's the Ukrainian people telling me this. And I'm not allowed to put it on the news that their own president and their own army is killing their people.
Wow.
So they're doing it and then saying that the Russians are doing it.
Yeah, I've
Just
heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, it's
and the
just
Russians are going in and getting the children out. So,
mhm.
everything you're hearing, folks, on the news is actually the opposite.
Well,
So
yeah, it's all lies, because everything that they spew on the news is pretty much lies. I mean, about the only thing I noticed that they tell the truth about is what's going on in your local town, like a baseball tournament or a basket. Next week we're having a basketball tournament. That's
yeah,
about the only thing they can get accurate. All of the rest of the shit, excuse my language again, that comes out of their mouths, it's crap. It's all lies. I can't watch it. I haven't watched it in a long time. I can hear it going because a certain person in my house has to listen to it 24/7. And so I can hear it in the background going, and I try to just ignore it as much as I can. I will pop into the room to see the weather report. That's about it. But even that is a lie, because they'll say, oh, tomorrow it's going to be sunny, and then it's cloudy and rainy. So they can't even get that information correct ever.
Yeah, it's all geoengineered, isn't it?
Yeah, especially where I live. I'm looking out the window right now. What am I seeing? Chemtrails, lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of them.
Let's see what next week brings. Let's
Yeah.
hope that next week brings no more chemtrails. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Yeah, it would. And I even put a post on Facebook saying, I will only believe that the good guys are in control when all of those go away. When those completely disappear and they stay away and they don't ever come back again, then I'll know the good guys are in control. Yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty much it.
Thank
So
you.
everybody check out Seleni. Thank you for being with me. Check out her website. Check out her book, Emerging from the Matrix. Amazing book. It's very different from mine. She covers actually different information in her book than I cover in mine, but they're both complementary to each other because they're about the same topic. They're just different approaches, different information on the same, along the same line of information. So check out her book. Because you will learn new things that you didn't see in my book, because I covered different. Yeah, I covered totally different material than what you covered. It's very different. So there may be a couple of things in your book that I might have mentioned, but it's mostly very different. So if you want to learn new stuff, check out her book. I highly recommend it.
I thought it was interesting, and I always pull up my link when I'm sharing it with people. Whenever I pull up my link, it often says right underneath it on Amazon, people who bought your book also bought your book. So they're always together. I noticed that our books are almost always together, urging people, if it's yours, they urge it to buy mine, and vice versa. If it's mine, they urge people to buy yours. So if you like Kimberly, you probably like me.
Yeah, her book is going to go along with mine. And again, it's not a competition. It's not a repeat of the same info you got in mine. It's going to be very different. Her approach to everything is different, but we're 100% always on the same sheet of paper, because I don't know how many times over the last 3 or more years that I've called you up on the phone and said, hey, what did you hear about blah, blah, blah. And you and I always have the same information. We're always on the same sheet of paper. So,
and my intuition is really blasting out right now. We're on the same page. Yeah. So anyway, it's just really fabulous to finally do this. I look forward to how we're going to work together in the future.
Well, in the future, we're going to be, just so you all know, Salini and I and a bunch of other people like us will be traveling together all over the world to speak to you guys in person. So that's what we're looking forward to, hopefully going to places like Paris, France, and Athens, Greece, and Rome, Italy, and London, England, and doing Ascension conferences where we get to come and speak to all you guys and teach you everything you need to know about how to heal your body, how to connect with God, how to connect with your higher self, how to develop your psychic powers, how to get all the answers for yourself. So you don't need to call me up on the phone every day asking me 50 million questions. I want you to be your own guru. So that's what we're going to be doing in the future, Salini and I'm excited about this. this. I'm looking forward, but we have to wait for all of the crazy stuff to unfold before we can launch our program. So, yep. That's
Okay, my dear, thank you for this. I look forward to what's coming together.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all. Please like, share, and hit the notification button. I'm getting messages from people saying Facebook isn't YouTube's not yet notifying you. That's because they're censoring me. They're censoring me on comments. They're censoring me on number of likes. They're censoring me on number of subscribers, everything because of the content that I'm providing, because I'm on here telling the truth. My guests like Salini are on here sharing the truth. And because of that, they censor. So if you don't see a notification bill, that should be a trigger to you to know to come in and check my page every now and then to see, because we have to stay 5 feet ahead of these psychopaths. So
Your day is numbered.
yeah,
Not much longer.
their days are numbered, and they are trying to go out with a bang, but we're not going to let them. We're going to bang them off the planet as fast as we can. So I love you all. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Yes, absolutely.